Okay, this one's where things start getting a little interesting. This is a prime example of a level where speed is completely counterintuitive to the point. It's almost entirely composed of hallways and strategized jumps, not the least of which being destroying that Metuo with splash damage, which is something that took an age to think up. The immediately evident problem here is Xtreme mode, which litters this entire place with enemies beyond the line of manageable, especially since Izzy Glow's stage is cluttered and maze-like to begin with. You can probably guess, but 90% of the pain came from the very first section. Izzy Glow's stage is probably the best example so far of a detailed path aspect in this challenge. I probably don't even need to point out which individual jumps and shots are planned because it's pretty evident just watching this that they all are, and there's not really a lot of choice in that matter. The shield enemies are the biggest offenders here, because Xtreme mode places them in positions where they either take way too long to destroy normally, or they'll fire at you before you can fire at them. And that's unacceptable when X can barely jump as it is, let alone dodge the bastards. The trick here is that firing off a charge shot at the right time is always going to supersede the enemy's shield, even if the animation hasn't put the shield above them yet. It's a combination of that and some really specific shooting that gets me through this with a decent speed. The pattern to those spiked crushers is also something that stumped me for a while for whatever reason, but that's mostly the bulk of the pain for this level. The second and the third sections are non-issues compared to the first, although those purple drone enemies are a pain in the ass, namely since you always need to stop to destroy them before you move on. No questions and no loopholes there. The mini-boss can't really be sped up. No matter how quickly you slaughter the black head, the others still need to go through the motions before another head spawns, so you're pretty much resigned to waiting for the battle to take care of itself. And the third part is all about annoying platforming, except, thankfully enough, without the small army that made the first section so god-awful. One thing I do love about this stage is how completely methodical the thing is. There's basically nothing here that gave me any real trouble during my attempts at the segment, and the entire process pretty much boils down to playing around with shortcuts and trying to find ways to use the charged buster to X's advantage, which is something you don't really associate with the weapon too much in X5. On-the-spot decisions are pretty much completely absent from this segment, so the process here was all discovery and not much tedium. Outside of a couple moments where I get caught up in one place during the first part, this isn't something I could do much to actively improve outside of, some slightly smoother maneuvering. I call this stage maze-like, but that's because the path is so damn twisted all the time. There's really never more than one way to go about things with X because he has so little room to maneuver in the first place. The same thing can't really be said about the boss, unfortunately, because he's easily the most annoying one to kill, even if he isn't the hardest to survive. Taking him out with relatively low health, like I do here, doesn't really do justice to how much of a bitch it is to hit him when you have to face him at level 96. Trying to get 20-something shots off while he's sped up as fast as he can go is a completely separate matter. He also has that really nasty vertical laser attack where you pretty much need to be in the proper place yesterday or you're completely fucked. That's always fun to lose an attempt to. You probably also noticed by now that this guy's level is completely hopped up from the last boss. The way that works isn't really as complicated as I said it was. Every time you defeat a boss, the level will boost by 2, you lose an hour to the timer and it boosts by 2, and you gain a rank and it boosts by 2. Those are the only 3 things that really work into it. It's a little finicky when the Sigma stages come up because you can obviously have a variable amount of hours that have passed before you completely stop the timer. That's something that'll crop up a little later though. That wraps up Izzy Glow stage. Next up is Death McWhalen, which I really can't do a bloody thing to speed up, so that'll be 10 minutes of emptiness. Hope you look forward to it.